So Dave, you've been in the internet sphere for a number of years. How would you say it's changed? You went strong about 20 years ago, had a bust, came back even stronger, I guess. What do you think the pattern has been, and where do you see the internet going?
So I think 20 years ago it was all about possibility. 15 years ago it really started growing, and then we had the bust in 2000. It rebuilt pretty quickly, and certainly Google and search has just been extraordinary. I think we will continue to see the personal computer as an important part of the media landscape. Search is extraordinary, and it's the greatest directory service we've ever seen. It's the world's greatest yellow pages. That said, I don't think the PC is the best platform for entertainment and brand advertising. And for someone that's sold online advertising almost exclusively for 18 years, I've chosen to go into television. And the reasoning is that television is a much better, the larger screen, lean back environment in the household is a much better environment for presenting entertainment and brand advertising. And I think that the improvements that we have seen in the television screens themselves, the explosion of choice and content that's available on those screens today, I really think we're really just about to enter the golden era of television. I mean, I tell people, TV is the new black, or TV is the new internet, I guess actually would be more appropriate to say. I think that we're now seeing the best of the internet meet the best of television. And that's going to be a long transition. It's going to be 7 or 8 years until we see a really robust on-demand platform, but it's going to be a very powerful platform, and I think ultimately a very positive thing for both the viewers and the companies that are able to best deliver programming and marketing in a more open but very robust TV platform.
So what do you think will happen when we have internet-ready televisions, which should be available next year?
Well, I don't think that by itself is suddenly going to change what happens. I have to believe in the last 5 years we've seen probably a turnover of at least one television set in virtually every household in the United States. So I don't think that just having a television that better, I don't think that that's been a barrier for people to have better television. I think that if you take those things together, internet protocol TVs, a lot of new ways to set-top boxes, Roku, Xbox, a lot of alternate devices. You have a lot of the television content providers talking about ways to make their content available on multiple channels but authenticated against video subscriptions, TV everywhere. I think all of these things, you have pure web services like Hulu and the Boxy browser. You have Apple TV. So I think if you take any one of these 15 or 20 different things that are happening out there, we're going to see a change over the next 5, 6, 7 years. And to me, this is like 1992 was in online. We didn't know if it was going to be Prodigy, CompuServe, AT&T WorldNet, AOL, which was not much of anything in 91 or 92. And we really weren't betting on the web, the pure web open platform, to be necessarily a winner. Mosaic hadn't even shown up then. So we're going to see a lot of change over the next 5 or 6 years. And I think that one thing we can be certain is that it's going to have extraordinarily disruptive impacts on a lot of the incumbent players, and that we're going to see a much more powerful and robust television experience for consumers at the end of it. But it's not just going to fall at once. What will happen is that the erosion of business models could collapse some companies, and that may accelerate some things, but it's a little too early to tell where that will happen.
Well, this sort of leads into my next question. Can you give me 3 predictions for the next 5 years? Or you could make it 7 or 8 years.
I do believe that we are going to continue to see per capita growth and total growth in the amount of media consumption that occurs on the television. the television platform will continue to grow as it has since it was first introduced. So the television is not ready to give way to alternate media the way newspapers, magazines, and radio have. So big future for TV. Number two, I think you're going to see a clear demarcation between the content companies and the distribution companies. And I'm saying that at the moment where the headlines this morning are that Comcast may be close to a deal with GE over NBC Universal. But I think particularly with a changing regulatory environment and some bold moves by folks like Time Warner to separate their distribution assets, I think we're going to see those companies separating. And the final one is, I think that 5 years from now we are going to see fewer, more relevant advertisements. I feel absolutely certain of that. And the reason I feel certain is that every consumer knows they get too many irrelevant ads. And the technologies, techniques, and business models are coming to be able to reduce the amount of commercial messages they get, but to deliver better ones that they care about. And I'm a big believer that the consumer is going to win, and that's going to happen.
What do you see as the future for the other media that you mentioned, radio, newspapers, and magazines?
They're going to become smaller players in the media world than they are today. I think that we'll probably see newspapers come out at 1/3, supporting 1/3 to 1/2 of the revenue they did in real dollars at their heyday. I probably am not as optimistic for radio. I think radio as a background medium is falling further and further and further and further behind. Magazines, I think, will continue to be, it would probably be like newspapers. It will probably support 1/2 to 2/3 of the value it did, but they'll also hold a very unique place in the brand advertising world, because I don't think you can beat the value of a slick page in a magazine. But once again, I would say in the newspaper and magazine examples, both of those industries had apogees that were probably much higher than their total value they were delivering, and they'll settle into something that's much less.